Hello everyone, Richter here. Welcome to another Torchlight Infinite video, and today I'm bringing you my update to the mana stacking yoga build. I've made quite some progress into being able to somewhat do profound. I think profound is still somewhat uncomfortable on this build. I will have the showcase of the profound map at the end of the video, as well as the T8 Traveler kill that I did before I made some of the upgrades, and then some just regular mapping for you to see how the build is performing at the moment. But right now, what I want to get into is what I think were the most important things that I've obtained ever since the last one. So let's take a look at what my previous setup was. This is the one. So this is the 2 billion DPS. So we have the yeah, this is the one. Yeah, okay, so we're rocking Winter Comes, the Archmage hands normally. The rings still needed a little bit more crafting, but were overall pretty good. Then this one, just a tier 1 wand, and I was using 2 damage spirits and 1 defense spirits. Then I had this just recovery, just a recovery one, alongside this with the numbed one, which I think I talked about this setup, but if not, I will discuss it anyway. And I was rocking open wounds at the time. The candles I think are still the same, and these I haven't changed these either. So for the most part, this is what we had. So these were level 1. Already had the Thunder Spike setup, and yeah, no precise stuff other than what I already had. It's rocking 6k mana at the time, 4k ES. I don't know if this is correct. I think I had more than that. But okay, let's go over what changed. So first thing, I replaced the Winter Comes with a Surging Inspiration. This was I bought this for 900 FE. I had the theory that Surging was going to be a significant upgrade, and I was right. This took me from roughly 3 billion to like 3 to 4 billion to like 7 to 8 billion. So kind of double damage, basically. The good thing about Youga is that Youga can actually trigger this because the shadows count as you using the skill, and I'm also using I'm also casting this, which I don't know if it's snapshotted to the point where only the first time counts towards gaining the focus blessings. That might be the case, but if that's not the case, then every time I'm getting like a channel stack of this, I have a chance to gain the spellburst stack. So this represented a significant damage increase. Let me show you what the current DPS is, and then I'll show the rest of the setup. Last time it was roughly 2 billion, something like that. So this is where we're at. Let me disable this, otherwise I'll keep running around like a headless chicken. Okay, so surging, then this ring. So I had another one, which I think I just replaced it because of the prefix. But I managed to get another one, which is elemental destruction with projectile quantity, which basically means there's no downside, and it's all a tier 1 ring. The body armor is all tier 1. This one is all tier 1, and this one is all tier 1 with the barrage skill wave dream affix. And one of the other changes, this was super cheap, and for the price I think this was a decent upgrade. It was basically 50%, is getting 50% additional damage on top of what we already had. So this reads 1.5 per 87 up to 150. So you don't really have to increase your maximum mana if you already were at the maximum bonus, but you just basically get 50% more damage from this corrosion. And there is, so a good double corrosion would be these two double corroded. which if you get this, you get like 120% additional damage. And the good thing is that I got a 50% skill cost, which, you know, it helps with getting the bonuses from compensatory life and from the caster shield. Then I started crafting a priceless weapon. The main thing is that you want multiplicative modifiers, which you can't really get a lot of on your regular weapons. So if I look at my previous weapon, which I'm setting from an exorbitant amount, or so intelligence is multiplicative, but other than that, so mana will give you some bonuses, but the rest are just additive bonuses, which makes, let me lower this down a little bit, which basically makes you lack a lot of different modifiers that you can get. So that's why I think even if this base affix is trash, it's completely worthless, but the ability to get the additional spell burst, so these two are a massive damage increase alongside with the spell damage and maximum mana. So I want to get this to tier 1, and then I'll try to tier 0 these two. That will be my priority. But I also want to get a priceless ring, and I'm working on the priceless body armor, with which I have the theory that I will try to get this alongside like a seal. I don't know if seal mana is a thing on rings. I'll check that out, and then to get rid of this shield, because I think the shield it's kind of bad, honestly. I don't think this shield is adding too much to the build outside of the 30% mana compensation, which Youga needs because of the hero trait. So that's gear. Yeah, not much changes. We're rocking at the moment 10,000 mana, 6.5 ES, 1,000 intelligence. Things that I tried that didn't work like I wanted them to. I tried the stellar vestment of eminence. This was almost the same DPS as the current rare chest that I have, as this. There was basically no difference in DPS. This cost 120 FE. So if you're starting to play this build right now, this is better than crafting a body armor, but eventually a priceless armor is completely gonna overshadow that. What I haven't tried is this gear, which I have the theory that this can be a large amount of damage because of the percentage that you get. You get mana, and you get an insane amount of added gold, and it's not so expensive right now. So that might be something that I try soon enough. The other thing that I tried is the well, whatever the name of this thing is. Israfelos. So I bought this for like 500 FE. I tested them, and for my build, so because of the whole mana shenanigans, is worse than Archmage Hands. Flat out. Not even, it wasn't even better than the non-corroded version, let alone the corroded version. The corroded version was much more damage, and if you look for them now, if the build becomes, if more people become aware of how powerful this scaling can be, then of course the price is gonna go up. But I think you can still snipe one of those corrosions for less than 300 FE somehow. So if you really want to try it, you might give it a shot. Then let me check history to remember what else I tried. I tried chain lining, by the way. I bought chain candles, and it turned out to be a little bit worse than what I currently have, so I just got rid of it. Now let's get to skills. So in skills, the first thing that you will notice is I bought level 21 skills, so these two, they were like 30 FE for both. So I thought it was just some extra power for basically pennies, so might as well. One other thing, this is expensive to do, because this one's inspiration essence right now are super expensive. But again, this is guaranteed power. You're not speculating, you're not gambling. You just buy the essence, you buy the skills, and you put them in here, and you get power. You get 20% on this and 20% on this. So this actually is going to be my priority to upgrade next, because it's guaranteed. You don't have to gamble for it. And that's a total of 40% additional damage. So it's 20 and 20, so it's not quite 40. It's actually more than that, because every single layer of additional damage multiplies against each other. So these two are adding up, not together but separately, but they end up adding a whole lot amount of damage. So definitely getting these to level 5 will be massive. The other thing is I'm still running Grudge here, Guard, and Quick Decision. Then I don't remember if I talked. I think I talked about it about this setup in the previous one. But in essence, this allows you to get numb this increased damage taken, up to 40% damage taken by the enemy. So this kinda acts like a curse. So I think a second curse will be better than this. But to get a second curse, you need some way to get an additional curse. Either you get the pay to win pet, or you craft it on the body armor, which is probably what I intend to do. So with ultimate mod, you can get it here, one additional curse, and that will be like 40% additional damage. That will be a very good upgrade to get. But for the time being, the fact that you can get damage and defense because of Harden here, I think this was a no-brainer of an upgrade. This is the cheapest rhythm I could get. This is like maybe 80 FE, I would like to say. And this is pretty much the way you're gonna set up this. The 6th link is debatable. You might use it, you might not. This adds numb effect. I tested it, and it seems to add up a little bit of damage. But the other option is just getting more high voltage for higher chance of numb. Then Icebond linked to Spellburst and Added Fire. I'll tell you more when we get to the slates why I'm using Added Fire here. But in essence, Icebond is better than Mana Boil, is better than Fixate. I think it's better than Fixate. I could give it a try. And the other Empower for damage is Arcane Circle, which I think is bad at the moment. So basically your options are Icebond, Mana Ball, and Blurry Step and Fixate. The other option is, if you want to be speedy, you put Blurry Steps here and you put Cooldown Reduction instead, and that gives you 100% uptime. Keep in mind that this burst is a tier 0 burst. This was 40-50 FE, I would like to say, and this allows me to have 100% uptime on Blurry Steps when I want to super speed mapping. Secret Origin, what I want to get here is I want to add Mass Effect and maybe get a preparation with cooldown reduction to instead trigger it with the Mass Effect to get more effect of Secret Origin Unleash, and that should give me a little bit of damage. Shout out to Kithik for that tip. Then Ice Imbue has added physical damage, added erosion, and Imbue buff. Frigid Domain, I tried doing the double setup, or so using Fire Magus with the Magus support. This one, Friend of a Spirit Magi. I use both. Frigid Domain is just too good because it's damage taken by the enemy. It's not damage multiplied by you, so it kind of adds more than if this was like additional damage for you. So Frigid Domain would be very, very hard not to run, honestly. Swiftness, because I like movement speed, and then the Thunder Spirit. I tried them both. For me, Thunder Spirit was more damage than Fire Magus. But for more defense, you will reuse Rock Magus or Erosion Magus, whichever you prefer. The candles, again, I haven't changed. I'm using Barrage Skill, Chance, additional waves, and then just the movement speed clearing candle. More damage, there are options to get more damage. For instance, you can get barrage damage, you can get cold damage, you can get additional cold damage. Grudge Candle will be huge, but that's like 2k. which is probably one of the things that I will buy for the next upgrade when I manage to get further into profound. So survival of the build has increased mainly because of maxing out my resistances when we get to the Pact Spirit part, and because of some changes I did to the passives, which you would notice here. So in Goddess of Knowledge, I think I removed this crit notes for this. Now, you could forsake this to get the more damage. It'll be roughly a 10-15% increase, most likely. For me, I don't like dying. I reached level 97 and doing 8-0 and 8-1, I didn't die at all. In 8-2, I was dying a little bit. I don't think I would die anymore as long as I'm paying attention in 8-2s right now with the current setup. But I might be wrong. It could still be as dangerous. But in general, here it's pretty standard what people get here. You might consider these nodes not being worth, but I like the movement speed. So for me, movement speed is, if I can get it, I will. Arcanist, of course, the key passives are Beacon, because I have a Chili Slate, and Insight because Insight is good. Okay, for Arcanist, I'm doing full load now instead of, I haven't tried Frostbitten, but I don't have freeze duration. I'll have to invest into freeze duration, and I think this is like exclusive to Frostbitten Heart, or you investing into getting additional frostbite charges, but just for 20% when you can get 40% here. And because of the amount of mana regeneration that I have, basically every single cast is benefiting from this. So it's noticeable the amount of damage. I haven't tried, I tried mana, and I think they are very close. I think if I get better mana stats on my gear, like flat mana stats, this one will eventually be better than full load, probably. And then I'm doing Frozen Lotus because I tested Mind Focus, picking it up here, and it was worse. I haven't tried Extreme Coldness, but so Frostbite. So Extreme Coldness kind of pairs with Frostbitten, but yeah, I don't think this will be any better than Frozen Lotus, honestly. The tree here, I got rid of like added spell damage modifiers. I went instead for like max mana crit. Max mana regen is very important. Focus Blessing, mana per int, because we're heavily scaling intelligence, and a lot of our mana is coming from here. I have like 1000 divided by 8, that's 125 flat mana, which with all of our modifiers will be like 800, something like that. And then these 100% mana regen is very important because of how much we're consuming, especially now that I'm running Surging Inspiration. Then in Magister, this is where we made the defensive switch. So the reason why I got rid of Play Safe is, first, yes, Play Safe adds damage, more than Barrier of Radiance, of course. Barrier of Radiance doesn't give you any damage, but the amount of damage wasn't huge. It was, I would like to say it was like a 10%, and that is because I'm not heavily investing into cast speed. I could probably have invested more into cast speed and get more out of it, but when you consider that in once you have a mod like 15% less cast speed for additional damage, it kind of beats the purpose of running Play Safe at all. So right now, I think because I have access to Spellburst charge speed in other places, and I will look to add a little bit more of that elsewhere, I think I can run Barrier of Radiance, get the extra defense, get the extra recovery, which was a problem that I wanted to solve on the build. And this solves it super amazingly well. Basically, every time you get to low life, you're gonna start recharging. And once you start recharging, that recharging will continue for 4 seconds. And if we look at how much mana it's regened per second, its recharge per second is 1319. So 1319 times 4, that's 5k mana. So before they interrupt the recharge, we would be pretty much full energy shield. So Barrier of Radiance, incredible defensive layer. If you pair that with like if you use Force Start instead here, it's like having permanent insane regeneration. So also very good. I always like this node a lot. If you get this on the candle, then probably getting back to play safe and then start investing into cast speed will increase the scalability towards damage a lot. Now bunch is undefeated. Another option is getting like shell and get an insane amount of energy shield, but I think that only works if you're doing like cicada shell shenanigans to get like in the 20-30 thousands of energy shield. But for now, Focus Blessing stacking is the best thing. This gives you a +1 and gives you 3% additional damage per Focus Blessing, which we're losing because of the Slates. And again here, getting mana, I got rid of every cast speed node. I added some regain because I wanted recovery on the build. I added ailment chance for the shock, well, numbed, and for the other ailments. Then I added, these nodes already had taken last time some more crit damage, and then getting this one is very important. Getting the energy per intelligence. This ends up being how much? This is 2 per 5, so I have 1,000 divided by 5 multiplied by 2. That's 400 flat energy shield. It's not too bad. It's just a point. 400 flat is pretty good. You're spending 5 points to get 375 here, and 400 is like a gear piece, an extra gear piece. So yeah, very good. Then the extra percentage int, spell crit damage per Focus Blessing, and the spell burst charge speed and max spell burst. Then let's get on to the Slates. This is one of the interesting ones. So because of the numb shenanigans, I'm getting numb and ailment chance here to more easily get to that 10 stacks. I usually don't get 10 stacks. My theory is that once I get a better rhythm, I will be able to maintain the 10 stacks. But at the moment, because we're only triggering the skill once a second, it's very hard for me to keep the 10 stacks. But I usually will be 6 to 8 most of the time. And then the extra percentage intelligence here doesn't hurt at all. And then this corner is some regain, and this has the numbed chance to get 2 stacks instead of 1. This is what allows you to get to 6 to 8. Without this, you will be at 3 to 4 stacks. And as you may have seen, it's a lot of damage. This late, this was like 500 because it has Mind Focus. So this allows me to actually get back into scaling through adding maximum mana to the build. It removes the percentage damage that you get from Focus Blessings, and you could argue that there are better nodes than Mind Focus, but it's because it was Chili and Mind Focus, which are 2 nodes that I think have extremely good synergy with each other. So that's why I picked it up. But there are good options, like the one that I was using with what's it called? The one that I was using with Open Wounds was pretty good. And Dirty Tricks can be good, especially now that I have the element setup put together. Now, why am I getting elements and not using Dirty Tricks? Because of this. Penetrates 4% of elemental resistance for each elemental element on the enemy when dealing damage. Also, I haven't read that it was just elemental. So that means that Wilt and the Bleed one are just useless in this context. So that's good to know. Okay. Well, doesn't matter. This is gonna grant you 12% elemental penetration, and the good thing about this is that this doesn't have a limit. So I have this here, and I have it here. This was very lucky. This is trash. I don't care about this one, but I do like. So this late is pretty progress. I dropped this one. I didn't buy it. Buying something like this will be very expensive, I think. Yeah, it's very rare and very expensive. but basically spell skills level, max energy shield, pretty good. And then this one, I don't want to lose the agility or the tenacity blessing. Tenacity is less damage taken. Agility is movement speed, attack and cast speed. Very good for the build. And then this one is, I think getting like max spell burst spell level is better than this, or getting max spell burst, max focus blessing is better. But of course, that is much more expensive than what I'm running right here. I haven't had the courage to increase this to the maximum level because I'm afraid I might get something useless like this. Not this one. This is insane. This is an insane game. And yeah, that's the slate setup. So we went to skills, we went to slates. Let's go to hero memories. This remained the same. Now I want to show you something interesting about Youga. So you have the option to either run like this and go full auto bomber, which I think is preferable for mapping, and the damage you already saw, it's like 12 billion and go up to like 15 billion sometimes, but in general it's like this, right? It's 16 billion. Okay, there's that. Now with Youga, you have the option of using this. This will add a layer of mana consumption, which will get you to the threshold where you're getting much more spell damage through this, and you're also getting flat damage through this. So, but with the caveat that you now have to manually cast Blizzard. But that also allows me to, instead of using Path of Flames, I could use something like Fixate or something like Mana Boil or a defensive skill. Now, I don't want to use a defensive skill. This could also be used to add the second curse. But let's test, for instance, Fixate here. Now, keep in mind this is a low-level Fixate. I'm gonna do medium. We're gonna do Spell Burst. Gonna do cooldown reduction for more uptime, and we're gonna do well-fought battle for some effect. And I'm gonna reset the area.
Please select the calibration intensity for invincibility.
Now here's the thing: you have to cast Blizzard right now, but this has higher damage potential. Maybe it doesn't with the current setup. There you go. There it is, 20. It's a little bit more. It's not too much. But if you're trying to push like Ordrak or something like that, it might come in clutch. Other than that, I'm using still. I got the max call with the attack block chance. Ideally, probably I want offensive and defensive, but I'm gonna keep this until I go to red ones. Same here, attack and block. Cast speed is not something that I'm interested in keeping. And then max res and spell block again. Offensive defensive will be a better combination, but I don't mind having the maximum resistances. I think investing into defenses is it's good. Oh, now spirits, because this is actually relevant. I'm doing only Dreamweaver. If you don't have Dreamweaver, you could either use. I think the best thing to use will be one of these. If you have it maxed. Use Spirit maxed unless you have a legendary one. So blue or purple. If you have a level 3 purple versus level 6 blue, use the level 6 blue. This one acts cold penetration. But the other one will be using spell or there's a curse one. Let me go to, I think it's persistent. The duration. They changed this one. Or is it attack now? Is this one curse effects? This is very good. This one You get less damage taken from cursed enemies. You get damage here. You get curse effect, and you get damage. This is a very good pet. I would say it's one of the best purple pets because you have both offensive and defensive notes on it. And depends if you do curse effect at defensive curse, then it's even as good. But otherwise, just use whatever you have. Spell, either of these is good. Probably you want something like this: spell damage, crit damage, and or spell damage, double damage, cast speed. And what you will do is I'm using Destinies right now, which the way that these work is you buy it or you drop it and then you place it in the small nodes, and no matter what pet you have equipped here, this node will always be whatever you put into it. So what I'm using is additional intelligence for some extra bits of damage, which I'm testing between intelligence and like crit, but it's expensive to test because you cannot, if you remove them, you're gonna lose them. Otherwise you have to buy this, and I think this is very expensive, so not worth using on these, so you will just destroy them. And I'm getting here energy shield on kill and chance to use double damage. This can go up to 3, but this was a very unlucky roll. And I guess the most important one is this one, which was at the time that I bought this, it was 150 FE. There weren't many of them, so I wouldn't count on this remaining the price it was. But basically, you get Spellburst charge speed, and when you activate Spellburst, you take less damage. Which, as you can see from me running the Hell Cavalry, I'm leaning into trying to reduce damage taken. Yes, I could have more damage, but I don't like dying. So if you're a fan of damage, you would use 3 damage pets and forget about everything I'm saying here. But if you're interested in making your build survive a little bit, Hell Cavalry is one of the best pets you can run. I think it's, or like damage reduction is better than most of the legendary pets. I'll tell you, I have this guy which gives you a ton of energy shield, and he, when you max him out, he has a lot of damage mitigation, but you have to max it out. It's not an easy task. Preserver is more about movement speed, and you do get damage reduction, but you also get like damage avoidance. It's pretty good for it. And you have Anthem as well, which has less damage taken, but Anthem is more for life-based builds. So I think Hell Cavalry is one of the best generic ones. The other ones that I've seen people use is this guy, because you get energy shields. No, this is the critical one. Let me go. It's one of these. This one, you get energy shields, and you get, look at this. So you get energy shield here. You get mana regen, which you will replace with Kismets. You get experience, which you also could replace with Kismets. And then you get the less damage taken. But Hell Cavalry is very good because I have less damage taken here on the node. So this is 14%. And then I have 3% here and 3% here. So that's 20% less damage taken from this pet alone. If you look at modifiers for less damage taken, this is worth like a modifier on a piece of gear. So it's very good. Dreamweaver is extremely good. I will look into replacing specifically the cast speed nodes. Maybe I do need a little bit of cast speed. Maybe I don't need cast speed at all, and then I just get rid of this. But the Elemental Mastery one is very good. And Preserver I like because of the movement speed. I'll show you, like, if I remove Preserver, this is my speed. And then if I add her, this is the speed at which I run at. You can always you can get Preserver through the selection box if you don't have it. And yeah, that's pretty much the updates. I'll leave you with the mapping footage. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments, or you can hit me up in the Torchlight Infinite Discord or in the Heroic Discord. I appreciate you if you have watched up until this point. Tell me, what is your favorite way to eat spaghetti? What's your favorite spaghetti preparation? It's a very important question to answer. Please do so. And anyway, thank you very much. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.